Hello and welcome back to Drunk Doctor Who. Yeah.
Oh, that's where we put the camera.
Yeah.
And I sit here?
You sit here.
Oh, it's been so long.
Been 7 weeks or something.
I forgot. Oh, hello again.
Hello. All right, cheers.
Cheers. What are we drinking today, Heather?
Tito's vodka, made here in Texas. And you?
Twisted tea.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like it never changed.
Sign of the times. Russian Standard is pretty much no longer available because nothing at all is coming out of Russia these days.
It's also very cold out now.
Yeah. So Tito's is an amazingly close second. So that's what I'm running with.
All right. Thank you for joining us once again for this, the 105th episode of the Drunk Doctor Who podcast, wherein we discuss the 105th serial of Doctor Who,
The City of Death. Amazing serial, phenomenal, super classic.
Super classic.
Yeah. Oh,
written by
Douglas Adams, under the pseudonym David Agnew, not to be confused with Spirce Agnew, vice president who resigned in disgrace under the Nixon administration.
Disney.
Okay. Anyway, so Douglas Adams wrote it. He wrote 3 serials for Doctor Who, 2 of which were completed. All 3 of them are good, but this is the only one that is an absolute classic. The other one is Shada, which we'll get to later in the season. That's the one that wasn't finished by the strike. Finale. Yeah, it would have been the 6-parter season finale. Anyway, so here you go, City of Death. This is the DVD, although we watched it on Blu-ray, because why not? Better quality. But of course, this is what the DVD looks like. Okay. This serial stands out for so many reasons. First of all, it's set in Paris. Okay, not only set in Paris, they actually filmed it in Paris. They're running around instead of running down corridors. They're running down the big streets of Paris, and they're chewing up the scenery: the Louvre, the Eiffel Tower, just this, that, and the other, and everything.
No blue screen sets.
Right. Correct.
Lots of establishing shots.
Yeah, the Arc de Triomphe, etc. Just so much amazing stuff. Now, the vast majority of Doctor Who serials are filmed in the United Kingdom because it's expensive to take everything and go elsewhere. Yeah, I've got some news for you about that exactly.
Huh?
But we'll do it after we do the serial.
Okay.
There's only a few of the old serials.
There's a lot of Doctor Who news we need to discuss, isn't there?
Yeah, since it's been 7 weeks, during which the centenary happened. Lots of news. Okay. So anyway. This one was actually filmed beautifully on location.
So it'll be a short podcast, as
yeah,
usual.
Possibly. Well, the actual plot to this is fairly simple, so we might get like an hour of this and an hour of other stuff. All right. There's only a couple other times that they film on location. A 6th Doctor story, the 2 Doctors, which is the 6th Doctor and the 2nd Doctor, Troughton. Is filmed in Seville.
Huh.
And my wife and I were in Seville.
Is that in Italy?
Spain.
Seville,
Spain. We were in Seville, and I'm walking down the street, and I stopped, and I was like, wait a second.
This is it?
This is it. This is where they filmed this scene, and they're walking next to this wall down the street, and so she's like, what? I'm like, remember this. I will show you. And we got back, and I fast forwarded until I found that spot, and it was like, yep, this is the exact spot. But she was like, wow.
A trend where people get very old black and white photographs or newspaper clippings and hold it up to the real world backdrop, and it'll be half black and white, the photo, and then half real, so you can see
the difference. Yeah.
But sometimes they don't change much. Sometimes they change a lot.
So they don't do this very often, and this is the first out of the country, I believe, filming of a Doctor Who serial. I'm not counting Ireland. I mean, they may have filmed some in Ireland, but
still the UK.
No, well, North Ireland is UK. The Republic of Ireland has been not part of the UK since like the 1920s, about 100 years.
You think they filmed there too?
Possibly.
Close enough.
Possibly not, but possibly. I'm not 100% sure. But this is the first time that they filmed on the continent.
Do you think they'll ever vote for Brexit and rejoin Ireland?
Wait, what?
Why are they still separated?
North Ireland and Ireland?
in the Republic.
You're trying to get us off topic. Okay. But short answer is Catholic and Protestant.
Oh.
The North Ireland was more Protestant, going back to the British's attempt to settle a bunch of Brits there. They were Church of England, whereas the rest of Ireland was very Catholic. So when they had the vote for secession, it was by county. And the Catholic parts voted to secede. The Church of England parts, which were more English and UK people rather than Irish, a bit more that way, decided to stay in. And so, luckily they were all contiguous. So those counties stayed with the United Kingdom, which is now Northern Ireland, and the rest of them left, which is the Republic of Ireland.
And it's still that way today?
Yes, still exactly that way today.
Religiously and everything? You don't think they'd want another vote?
Fairly religious, but you only get a vote on secession once in a long while. Scotland does it...
Well, it's been 100 years.
True. Scotland does it every 20 years or so. And it's like Puerto Rico voting to become a state. Mm-hmm. They do it every 20 years or so, and it's always like 52 to 48 they vote against it. They like the protection without having to pay the taxes. Okay. One note, sorry, the light here kind of burnt out. I got another one, but it's more of a direct spotlight rather than a bit more rounded. So I'm in a bit more dark, he's in a bit more light. We're going to see how this podcast works. It's probably going to be a bit problematic, and I'll get another light over here that will shine on me with the same luminescence so that... It's a good word.
Set lighting.
Yeah. We're actually going to have set lighting for a change so that the podcast will be a bit more evenly lit.
Would you like me to bring a key light over?
No, I think the one over there is going to be just fine. But we'll try it. I mean, we're experimenting.
Okay.
105 episodes in.
Some soft lighting.
No, I like this Arctic white.
I feel very highlighted.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. So, real simple. Tom Baker, the Fourth Doctor, and Romana start off at the Eiffel Tower, at the top, checking out the sights of the city. Because the randomizer that was put into the TARDIS at the end of the Key of Time, so they could evade the Black Guardian, they don't know where they're going. But they end up in Paris, in what is then modern day Paris, 1979, and they're just running around, chewing up the scenery, enjoying things. And they go to a cafe, and the cafe, while they're there, they experience like a little crack in time. The time jumps back like 2 seconds, and they repeat that. And they notice it.
Did they ever resolve the plot point with the Black Guardian? Does that ever come back into play?
The Black Guardian comes back.
Okay.
The Black and White Guardians come back later on. In fact, we finally get to see the White Guardian because we didn't see him the first time.
Very southern.
It was the Black Guardian masquerading as the White Guardian. Okay, so they're in a cafe. And their chemistry is fantastic.
Very flirty.
By this point, their relationship as a couple had blossomed. They're very much obviously infatuated with each other, if not in love. And they're so happy, partly to be in Paris, partly to be with each other, and partly to be filming there. And it's just fantastic. Another super classical thing about the serial, like I said, is all of the actors are amazing. Just all of them. They all have personality, and they're all really good. The main bad guy is the main bad guy in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. The aristocratic white guy. He is absolutely fantastic in it. And he's a caliber or two above the normal average actor that they get in Doctor Who, you know? Same for the Countess.
That's the Kali Ma guy? Temple of Doom?
I'm sorry, not Temple of Doom. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
That's the one.
Sorry, I misspoke, yeah.
The Holy Grail?
Yeah, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade with
He's
the Holy
Nazi?
Grail. Yeah, he's the one that goes and gets the wrong cup and dies. Yeah.
It's funny how 2 Indiana Jones movies, both antagonists are Nazis, right?
No, it's not funny. That's kind of normal. Okay, so if you were making a movie in the 40s or 30s, odds are your bad guy is going to be the Nazis. I hate that trope, but that's the way it is.
The 30s, 40s.
No, but it's set in the
30s.
40s. Nazis,
The
the Nazis are just such easy bad guys because they were so friggin' evil. And of course, the second one was set more in the 20s, or early 30s. So yeah, it was the Indian cult, and then the later one was set in the 50s.
Crystal Skull?
Yeah, so it was
That's your favorite?
the Soviets.
They're coming out with a 5th one, I hear.
Yes, where they're going to kill off Indiana Jones and replace him with a woman like they've done with every other male hero.
All of Harrison Ford's characters are dying. Spoiler alert, Han Solo. He didn't die in the new Blade Runner. Almost.
No, but that's not one of his classic heroes. I mean, it's a great, fantastic movie.
Classic.
It's a good movie, but it's not one of his super classic heroes.
Classic.
If anything, you could almost call him an anti-hero. But anyway, so back to this. So they're running around and they feel the time jump, and the doctor's like,
Harrison Ford's the 16th Doctor.
no, Harrison Ford's an American. They're never going to cast an American as the Doctor.
They almost cast an American as James Bond.
One American ever was called to audition for it.
Mm-hmm.
One. And he didn't get it.
Yeah.
Alright. So anyway, speaking of another male hero they've killed off.
When does James Bond hit the public domain? Soon?
The first books were written in the late 50s. It turned into movies in the 60s. So
it's in 99 years plus one.
Currently under American law, I don't know how the British law works at all, except asked about this with Doctor Who, right?
Uh-huh.
I'm like, when's he going to become public domain? Well, part of it depends on the country you're in. Some countries he's probably already public domain. In the U.S., he'll probably be public domain in
2049, 45?
2050 something or 2062 or whatever. Bond, being in the books first, will probably be late 2050s, maybe here, unless they change the law again. I don't know about over there. Because over there they have some weird thing where it's when the last guy who wrote it or worked on it dies plus so many years or something. Yeah, really weird. But yeah, a lot of...
Sounds like a better system, actually.
Possibly, but it depends on the number of years. And I'd hate to have 8 writers and then the last one dies 50 years or 60 years later, and then you've got to wait another 50, 60 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's an extreme example. But anyway, so they feel this time jump when time comes back 2 seconds in the cafe, and the doctor's like, don't worry about that, we're on vacation.
Do you remember whose turn it was?
You usually go first because you're white, so it's your turn, you're in check, and then it'll be my turn, and then we've been playing this game for like 9 months. Alright, anyway. You are in trouble, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Okay. Anyway, so they feel that time jump. The Dark says, don't worry about that, we're on vacation. And they run to the Louvre so the Doctor can show Romana the Mona Lisa. And he's all about the Mona Lisa. He's
this is a rook?
Yes.
Okay.
And he shows Romana the Mona Lisa in the Louvre. While they're looking at it, oh, by the way, I don't know if I've told you this, I think I have. If you're ever actually in the Louvre, the Mona Lisa is great. Look at the Mona Lisa. enjoy the Mona Lisa. It's only about yay big. But then turn around and look at the giant, amazing 40-foot high, 60, 80 feet wide mural on the opposite wall. Directly across from the Mona Lisa is this phenomenal, fantastic painting about the life of Christ that is so much more detailed and beautiful and gorgeous and just phenomenal and a much bigger work of art. And nobody looks at it because everybody's staring at the Mona Lisa because it's more famous. But right across from it is this other masterpiece, you know?
Why do you think the Mona Lisa is so famous? Is it the mystery? Because a lot of people criticize it. It's small, she has no eyebrows, she's not smiling.
It's kind of a crooked smile. It's partly the mystery, but it's probably just because it's famous. So everybody knows the famous paintings, and they want to see them because they're famous.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are really good. Some of them are not necessarily as good, but they're famous because they're different or unique or interesting.
Do you have a favorite painting? If you had to pick one to own.
That's an interesting question. Let me ruminate on that.
Okay. I have one. You wanna?
What's your?
I'm quite fond of the girl with the pearl earring.
Oh, there you go. That's a nice one.
I think it's a good one.
What's his name?
Yeah, that guy.
The painter.
Yeah. Like Doctor Who, it's just the painter.
It's not Monet. Well, he did a lot of paintings, but it's not Monet. I would want the clocks melting that Picasso did.
Yeah.
Pablo Picasso.
Mm.
Oh, I like that one. I've seen it. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember who did the girl with the pearl earring.
Me either.
Botticelli?
Maybe.
I don't remember. Anyway,
I should know that.
if you know the answer, please put it in the comments.
I went to art school.
We'd love a comment. Just make a comment. All right. Anyway, so while they're at the Louvre and they're looking at the Mona Lisa, they have another one of those time jumps.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor falls over because the first one affected him, but not as bad as this one.
I thought he was feigning it so he could slip the...
Yes, yeah, I think it did affect him really badly, but then I think he fell down where he wanted to fall down. So he faints, but he kind of moves around so he can faint next to this aristocratic lady, turns out she's a countess, who's been sitting on a bench. So the lady gets up, the doctor and Romana then leave the Louvre, and they go back to the cafe, I think the one from earlier. And while they were walking and just chewing the scenery, because you're in Paris, you're gonna use the scenery, they are followed by a British inspector. Well, more of the classical term is private dick. More of a detective of sorts. Anyway, so he follows them, and
mine's quite private as well.
it's the old-fashioned 1920s, 1930s term.
Did you get that at Ren Fair?
The shot glass?
Yes.
Yeah.
Huh. It's very hefty.
Damascus steel shot glass, number 8 of 100. Got it at Ren Fair. Really nice. Like I said, I need to clean out some more before I can use it. Although, to be fair, the alcohol should kill the grease, too.
I'll cut through it.
Yeah. But I do want to make sure it's 100% degreased before I use it. So anyway, then this detective points a gun in the doctor's back and brings him inside the cafe at gunpoint. Apparently, lots of people are pointing guns at each other in this cafe, and nobody seems to care. Yeah. So the doctor's tells Romana, hey, yeah, this bracelet, I took off that lady, which is why I fell that way.
Mm-hmm.
That technology's not of Earth. This is different technology.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hold on a second. pause right there. Back up to the beginning of the episode, where we see an alien with a green head and one eye trying to take off in a spaceship from a planet.
Think of the Star Wars probe with legs.
Mm-hmm. And they try to take off on warp drive because their main thrusters are damaged. And it gets up a little bit and the ship explodes. And that's the beginning of the episode. And then we have the credits and then we work into Tom Baker and all that. So anyway.
It's the alien race of the Jaggeroth.
Jaggeroth. Okay, so the guy who had the gun in the doctor's back is named Duggan. Right here. Oh, the episodes aired from September 29th, 1979 to October 20th, 1979.
And today is the 21st of November.
Yep, 11/21/2022. So in a serial or two, we're going to pass up the date again because our time passed up this time because we were away for so long.
Is that the third or fourth time we've done that?
Well, we've done it more. We've done it several different times.
We've laughed it and then
Laughed it, but this is like only the second or third time that it laughed us back while we were going because of a long hiatus.
It's a race.
It's a race. I'm winning. All right. So anyway, so Duggan's like, okay, you're working for Scarleone, Count Scarleone.
Yes.
Yeah, you're working with Count Scarleone, and the doctor's like, I've never heard of Count Scarleone. And Duggan's like, everyone in the world's heard of Count Scarleone. And the doctor's like, well, we just got here. So while they're talking, the doctor basically manages to convince Scarleone that they're not trying to steal the Mona Lisa, but that somebody else is. Because the doctor knows that the technology in that bracelet was being used to scan all of the defenses for the Mona Lisa. While they're talking this out, a couple of thugs show up, point guns in the cafe at the three of them, because they're sitting at a table, and they take the bracelet back. In the meantime, Scarleone, the Count, is doing experiments with, what's his name?
Theodore Nikolai Velinsky.
Kerensky. Yeah. So there's this, like I said, every single character in here is just so beautifully well done. Kerensky is this Russian, like little guy, like little Woody Allen sized and shaped guy, and he's I'm trying to do things, and they people are doing other things, and just a fantastic character. He is doing experiments under the thumb of the Count, and the Count's basically trying to get him to be able to shift things in time. Kerensky thinks that they're trying to solve the hunger of the world by taking chicken eggs and making full-grown chickens out of them in 5 seconds, which would be great. That would be a fantastic technology.
Need more roasted chickens.
Exactly. And he keeps doing those kind of experiments, and that's what's causing the little time slips, the little time jumps or time cracks. The Countess gets back, tells the Count about the bracelet and all that stuff, but then the thugs show up with the bracelet. The Count ignominiously has the thugs killed. Just, you did well, but not well enough. And he has them killed.
Loose ends.
Yeah. Okay, what's the name of his butler? Hammond or something?
Yes.
Hammond. Alright, he's got this 6'2" butler dressed in all black, who apparently is his...
Hermond.
Is basically his man's man. Yeah, butler, thug, killer, whatever he needs done. And he has those two killed. And he sends some other thugs.
They're replaced immediately.
Yeah, replaced immediately. This guy's wealthy. The house is a fantastic set. I mean, it looks like it was filmed in a real house.
Gold trim.
The gilding everywhere, yeah.
Speaking of the set and filmed on location in Paris, you mentioned something about the wide roads in Paris.
Yeah. Okay. If you go to most European cities, London is a problem with this. Rome, most European cities, the roads are incredibly narrow. Because originally, they didn't even have horses and carts. They just had people walking or riding a horse. Later on, with horses and carts, you needed wider roads.
Yes.
But they're still not that wide. In Paris, the reason the roads are wide is because when Napoleon was a general, before he became emperor, he helped the revolution in France defeat the French army by holding up in France, in Paris, by blockading certain roads and defending that area. Because the roads were narrow, so they were able to build blockades and defend them. So once he became emperor, he was like, I don't want anyone to do this to me. It's too good a tactic. So he widened the roads, make really huge roads, so nobody could defend them in that fashion against him. Yeah, brilliant man.
Average height?
No. Little tiny guy. You saw Time Bandits. 5'1.5". Not a large man at all. Yeah, little guy, but brilliant. Not quite as good as Julius Caesar, but nearly. Tactician. Caesar won the donut battle, which blows my mind.
Donut battle.
Okay.
That's the one where they're
sieging a city
yeah.
and they have it completely surrounded. Then an army comes to relieve the city, so they build defenses around their army. So they've got the guys in the middle, them, and then the guys sieging them. They beat the guys in the middle and then eventually turn around and beat the guys on the outside. Seriously, Julius Caesar was an absolute mastermind at tactics.
Didn't it take him like 2 years to kind of like start them out, supply lines? What city was that?
I don't remember. I just think of it as the donut battle. It's the only one of its type in history, I believe. Alexander the Great was really good. Napoleon was amazing, but the Russian winter just killed him. Russia is the second worst place to invade.
Right.
Yeah.
What was the first? America?
Afghanistan.
I think the American South would be
Well,
pretty rough to invade.
No, America is rough to invade, but Afghanistan is worse. It's literally called... The nickname for the country is the Graveyard of Empires. It has been invaded by so many empires, and they all fell.
Wonder why that is.
Because the terrain is so rough, and the people are so hardy. The Soviet Union fell because it invaded Afghanistan. The Persians fell because they invaded Afghanistan. Roman Empire fell because it invaded Afghanistan. Just seriously, everyone who invades that country fails. You know, we did all right, but we eventually had to leave. You know, and all of our work was for naught.
And now America's gonna collapse.
For mostly unrelated reasons, but yeah, it's coming. Texas secession. We're in Lubbock, Texas, by the way. If you don't know, you're just sampling this for fun.
They doxed us. You doxed us. They know where to find us now.
Yeah, Lubbock, Texas. All right. Dude, there's 300,000 people in this city.
Sponsored by Mad Hatter's House Games.
Hey, shh. All right. No, it's not sponsored. We have no sponsors. All right. Anyway.
Sponsored by Twisted Tea. And Tito's Vodka.
That's not how that works.
Not sponsored.
For those on Patreon, give us money. We'll buy you can buy the vodka. All right. I don't think that'll ever happen, but
We have a Patreon?
we do.
Huh.
No followers. And I haven't put anything on there in forever. I was kind of uploading the videos like 3 a week, and I stopped after about 15. I need to go back and upload like another 100.
That's a lot of uploads.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Well, all you do on Patreon is link to the YouTube or wherever. They're starting actually to host their own thing.
Oh, okay.
So, all right. So anyway, the Doctor and Romana. Okay, do they get taken back to the Count's house at this point?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
They're 2 guards and Duggan.
yeah, they're all 3 taken to the Count's house. Now, like I said, the Doctor, Tom Baker's in full form. Romana's in full form. It's obvious the chemistry is there. They later on get married in real life. Duggan's great. He's a well-developed character. Even though he's not the brightest character, he's a man of action, and he uses his brawn constantly.
The Countess takes off her bracelet and puts it in a Chinese puzzle box.
Right. And she's like, you'll never figure it out. And Romana's super intelligent. She goes, okay. Takes out the bracelet. And I wish they would have shown more of the Countess's countenance at that point, because that would have been gorgeous to see her going, But the Doctor comes in, and the banter is boom, 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 boom. Just great stuff off the cuff. All 3 of them get put into a basement, cellar, jail. Mm-hmm. They get put into a cell. In the meantime, let's see, what was that great line? Doctor's playing stupid, playing the fool.
No, it can be that.
Yeah, she's like,
the longer you play the fool,
the more I think you're not one. And she says he's not as stupid as he seems. And the Count goes, nobody's as stupid as he seems. They get put in the dungeon. Okay, so then the Count has the Countess leave him. And then he pulls off his face. And it's the Skaggarath face. The Jaggeroth?
Jaggeroth.
The Jaggeroth face.
Tentacly alien.
Yeah, weird tentacle Cthulhu-esque alien thing.
Begs the question, how does he see through that mask if his eyes...
Don't ask questions.
Very sophisticated mask.
Mm-hmm. It allows him to see through the mask.
That's where the mask pulls apart, is right in his forehead where the eye is.
Oh, yeah. And it's so weird because his head with the
wider.
is bigger than the head with the mask, which is the actor.
Squishes all those tentacles together.
Right, it's a fairly Cthulhu-esque monster, although fairly humanoid.
Kind of think of Medusa, except
kind of
worms, and that's all of it. Just a bunch of worms.
Okay. So
combining to make a face and an eye.
So he pulls off the mask. You see the Jaggeroth, and the episode ends. All right. We had 2 off-camera deaths thus far.
The thugs.
All right. How many total deaths are there?
2 on camera.
2 on camera and 3 more off camera.
3 off camera.
So 5 total. But only 2 on camera, so not as bad.
Not bad for the City of Death.
Yeah, the City of Death.
I was like, get the death count ready.
Didn't quite happen the way you expected. But the City of Death, I think, is more because...
The City of Potential Death.
Well, the whole city is threatened later.
Yeah.
Okay.
All of humanity, really.
Well, eventually all of humanity is going to die if they don't stop him. But just the city is where he's threatening Paris at that
point. Not so much die has never been...
Yeah,
confusing.
That's bad. Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
Apparently the Jaggeroths are to thank for all of humanity.
Yeah, they don't care. But to be fair, every race has the right to fight for survival, And, there's some interesting metaphysical, philosophical points in this, Yeah. Yeah. All right, so second episode, the Doctor attempts to break them out of the cell. He's trying to use a sonic screwdriver.
It doesn't work at first.
Doesn't work at first.
Why? It's a wooden door? What does the sonic screwdriver not work on?
Generally speaking, it doesn't work on wood, which in this case, it eventually works on wood, which is a plot hole.
So it doesn't work at first, and then it works.
And then Duggan takes it and hits the against the door says he's thinking it's an actual normal screwdriver or some sort of lockpick, and the doctor's like, "Stop that!" And he grabs it back, but then it works.
So Duggan fixed it.
Right, Duggan, fix it. This is how we fix Russian space station. So then he looks at Duggan and he goes, "Do you want to stay on and be my technical my scientific advisor?" Great line. Like I said, everyone, the banter is so awesome in this serial.
That was the prelude to them investigating the laboratory.
Right, so they go out and investigate the laboratory. In the meantime, Romana has figured out the room is not as big as it should be. That there's a panic room or a sealed off room or a cask of Amontillado in there.
Is that wide?
Yeah. She's like, that's strange. Wasn't it 6 meters coming down the stairs? Yeah. Well, this room is only 2.73 meters deep, which is a friggin' exact amount. So the doctor and Duggan go out to look at the laboratory that they saw when they were coming down. And they're looking at it, and the doctor's like, "Wow." And then, what's his name? Kurgan?
Theodore Nikolai Kalinsky.
Kalinsky comes out because Kalinsky's working on things. The doctor and Duggan kind of dance around the pillars while Kalinsky comes in.
Stage direction.
Eventually, okay, Duggan is a man of hit things first and ask questions later.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor keeps telling him not to do that and shoving him aside. So Kalinsky works on his experiments, and the doctor's literally right behind him watching. And then they have this rapport back and forth where, "Who are you? Me? Yes, you. I'm the doctor." Yeah. But it's really funny because they get to working on the stuff, and then while the doctor's explaining things to him, Duggan comes up and knocks out the scientist. Mm-hmm. And the doctor's like, "Don't ever do that again."
And he was like, "What are you going to do about it?" "I'm going to ask you not to."
Very sternly.
Meanwhile, upstairs, the Count, the Countess, and his two thugs are planning the heist of the century to steal the Mona Lisa.
Yes.
And they expose the whole design of the bracelet is not only scanning the defenses, but he puts it in this projector-like thing and creates this 3D virtual reality
interactive 3D hologram.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
So they use a sonic knife, much like the sonic screwdriver I mentioned.
Right, because he's an alien, he has advanced technology.
Apparently he's the thing for all of human technological advancements. We don't know if he's just kind of...
Yeah, we find out later on.
Maybe if he actually had a hand to play in that.
Right. We find out later on, the next episode, that when the spaceship blew up, Skarroth,
the Jagaroth.
Skarroth was splintered into 12 different lives through the time vortex throughout the history of humanity. And that he has been trying at each separate point, from caveman to Egyptian to Italian to whatever. He's been trying, Roman, Greek. Mm-hmm. He's been trying to advance humanity to the point where in his 12th and final incarnation in time, he would have the technology to send himself back in time to stop the spaceship from taking off so it doesn't explode, to stop himself.
And they all kind of exist and communicate within the same period. They're all interconnected, so he can communicate across all 12 versions of himself.
Problematically. But yeah, none of him are whole, but they're all sort of facets of him in different times.
So he can stash resources for the future splinter of himself to find.
Which is what he does. As an Egyptian, he buries plans for things, which a later version of himself goes and knows where it is and digs up. He gets some of the early works of Shakespeare, like first drafts of Hamlet, that comes up.
Being City,
Gutenberg Bibles, and copies of the Mona Lisa done by Leonardo da Vinci, which we find out here in a little bit.
This is where his wealth comes from.
Exactly, because he has all this he can sell off when it becomes worth innumerable amounts.
Mm-hmm. They also use, then after the sonic knife cutting through the plate glass, they use the bracelet and the projector to blast a sonic wave at the laser beams to move them out of the way.
Moves the laser beams to the side.
So they can steal the Mona Lisa without triggering the alarm.
Right. Really good special effects on this, by the way.
Yeah.
So they're playing the heist to steal the Mona Lisa. In the meantime, Romana is taking stuff out of the laboratory to head towards the wall where she's figured out there's a bricked off room that's been bricked off for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
They finally break in, thanks to Duggan. He just literally rams it with his shoulder. Like I said, man of action. And they get in and they find 6 Mona Lisas. Like
paintings, not the person.
Right. Paintings. 6 Mona Lisa paintings that are authentically painted by Leonardo da Vinci. So it's like, well, wait a second, what?
You know why they called her the Mona Lisa? Leonardo was a little kinky. She was trying to smile. He said, no, Mona Lisa, Mona.
You get a refresher. All right. So while they're looking at the 6 paintings of the Mona Lisa, they realize that they're all basically authentic because they were painted by Leonardo da Vinci. The Scagliari, or whatever his name is, shows up, the Count, and points a gun at the doctor. Then he's like, the doctor's like, well, can I ask where you got these? He's like, nope. Can I ask how you knew they were here? Nope. But they're actually authentic, painted by Leonardo. Yes. Good, I like concise answers. Good. Anyway, they knock out the Count, and the doctor says, okay, your job, Duggan, is to stop them from stealing the Mona Lisa. So go to the Louvre. Romana, you go with them. I've got to go see this Count. I've got to go see Leonardo da Vinci. So the doctor heads to this art gallery where apparently they've parked the TARDIS in an art gallery. He gets in with a sonic screwdriver, and then he takes off and he goes to Middle Ages, Renaissance, and he goes to see Leonardo da Vinci. And small plot hole, because he's able to steer the TARDIS where he wants to in this case, despite the randomizer. I actually never thought about that before. Okay. So he goes to see Leonardo. There's a guard, incredibly well-developed character, even though he only has like 6 lines. Like I said, this whole serial is amazing. Douglas Adams was fantastic. And the guard's like, the captain's going to want to see you. Captain Tancredo or something. And I was like, ooh, I want to talk to him too. I was looking for Leonardo, but I'll talk to him. And the captain comes in, and it's the Count. It is literally the Count in the Renaissance clothing. So that's where the episode ends. And when you find out that's the Count. Episode 3, the Count threatens to torture the doctor to get information out of him. The doctor says, you don't have to do that, I'll tell you. So the Count's like, okay, how in the world did you travel here? The doctor gives him some story, and then finally the Count's like, no, the truth. And what about the young lady with you? And, the doctor's like, okay, I'm a Time Lord. And then while they are literally just about to torture the doctor, and he finally says, okay, I agree to help you, or I agree to tell you the truth, the Count starts having this weird freak out thing where the Saggoth are contacting him from beyond, and his same selves, all of his 12 selves, of his fractured self are moving in unison, and they're all kind of communicating. So, and he keeps repeating, "I will just remove or destroy the sentries that divide me." While he's freaking out like that, the doctor manages to get out the thumb screws and put it on the rapier that was held to his throat by the guard, and he manages to get to his TARDIS. He heads back to the 20th century. Sagarov is like, well, crap, he knows the secret. In the meantime, the crew go off to steal the Mona Lisa, which they do. Romana and Duggan get there. They find a dead body on the floor, one of the guards. And they all of the alarms, including the guards, have been deactivated. And Romana and Duggan actually says, "Oh, that's another alarm's been deactivated." And Romana's like, "Well, that's very callous of you. He's dead." Well, they shouldn't say he's dead. He's dead. And they see the Mona Lisa stolen. And Duggan's like, "That's impossible. The alarms would have gone off." And he goes up and he accidentally triggers the alarm. And then they rush out of there, go their separate ways, and head back to the cafe. So, where are we? Alright, so the doctor So Romana and Duggan literally break into the cafe, or she uses a sonic screwdriver. Duggan literally just breaks open a window and goes in. And Duggan's like, "I thought it was supposed to be 24/7. And she's like, "Yeah, you just keep breaking things." She's like, "It's effective." Anyway, so they're at the cafe. The doctor comes back to this century, comes out, and come in. Hey.
Excuse me.
Alright.
Oh, where are we at?
Episode 3.
Tree?
3.
Covered some ground while I was gone.
Well, that's my job. So,
time travel villain.
yeah. So the doctor ends up heading towards the cafe where they are. They decide to go back to the chateau to try and get the Mona Lisa back.
Not before I tell you all of my plans, Mr. Bond.
Correct. Because in the meantime, well, yeah, while in episode 3, while they were in Florence, Italy, right, in the 16th century, 1505.
1505.
Yeah.
1560.
What's his name? Skagarov or whatever? No, Jagaroth. But
Captain Tincredi.
no, but his normal name.
Oh, the Count
Not the Count, but the
Scaroth.
Scaroth. Tells the doctor pretty much everything.
He has many names, apparently.
Yeah. Anyway, so the doctor heads back to the cafe, trying to meet up with them. They decide to go back to get the actual Mona Lisa, and the doctor gets to the cafe. They left him a note, and he's like, "Yeah, whatever. There's no way in the world they would go back to the chateau." And then that guy hands him the note. Doctor goes, "Dear doctor, we're going back to the chateau." He's like, "Oh." They get captured pretty quickly and easily. And then
Meanwhile, the doctor just knocks on the front door.
Oh, eventually.
While they're taken back down to
the Count says, "Okay." The doctor let slip in 1505 that Romana, Romana was a time lady. And so the Count says, "Okay, I'm going to get you to help me make a temporal stabilizer."
Time distortion stabilizer.
Time distortion stabilizer And all of this that I've been working on, you can fix easily. So he convinces Romana to help him. She thinks he's only trying to put his pieces together, the 12 of him. Whereas he's actually trying to stop himself from taking off, which, as we find out, will erase all of history because the explosion of that Jaggeroth ship created the spark, if you believe in evolution, from whence
the soup,
the primordial soup actually started to radiation actually started to form cells.
Yes. So Scaroth is not only responsible for the technological advancement of the human race, but
Completely.
the Jaggeroth are responsible for sparking the evolution
creation of the human race. Yeah, it's a great all-encompassing serial. Anyway, so
the origins of man. I like the villain is kind of like a time-traveling villain equivalent of the Doctor, who's, you know,
well, yeah, but only to a point.
very intelligent, technologically advanced, grand machinations in different timelines.
Yeah.
Seeing him in the Renaissance, you're like, oh, he's here too.
So, he gets Romana and Duggan down, to the cellar, and he says, "Okay, I'm gonna destroy Paris if you don't help me, Romana." She's like, she looks at the equipment and she's like, "Yeah, he could easily do that." He convinces her because just the way. And in the meantime, he kills off Krensky.
Kilinsky.
Kilinsky.
He ages him to death.
Right, he ages him to death, just like the chickens earlier. And he flips a switch and he ages him, and that's the end of episode 3.
Uh-huh.
Episode 4, Romana builds him the time stabilizer. Or the what?
Time field distortion stabilizer.
Time field distortion stabilizer. And he's like, okay. Then the Doctor shows up because the Doctor went to help them with the shit. So the Doctor gets brought down there, and the Doctor's like, "I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to erase history. You can't do that." And he's like, "Well, you
history cannot change."
And
but he can, apparently, potentially.
It's all the.
But there's fixed points in time which cannot change.
The big stuff can't change. The little stuff can.
But the spark of the human race being created, you would think would be a big fixed point in time.
True.
So why is it that the Doctor needs to stop him from changing it?
Because apparently it's not, or something. Whatever works for the plot works for the plot.
The timeline, you have fixed points in time, but if you go back to the origin of that timeline, you can change the origin, but not the fixed points once it's already on a timeline track.
Yeah, and the sonic screwdriver worked on a wooden door. Don't worry about it. Alright, and Romana's got one of her own.
She has her own sonic screwdriver.
Alright, so, that's how she breaks into the cafe, whereas Duggan just knocks out a window.
Maybe she was borrowing the Doctor's sonic screwdriver.
But here's the weirdest part. They were in the cafe, right? When they broke into it. So the cafe owners just show up and open up and don't worry about the people who broke in. Exactly.
They seem very stoic.
Yeah. There's 3 or 4 plot points here that I'm like, what the hell? They kind of skip over this. Anyway,
There's a lot in the 4 episodes.
Right. So the Doctor, Duggan, and Romana get put back in the cell. And then Scolari, what is the Count?
Scaroth?
Well, what's his Italian name or whatever?
Captain...
No, not the Captain. The
Count.
Count.
Scarleone?
Anyway.
Carlos Scarleone.
Alright, so he gets confronted by his wife or
Countess.
Mistress, whatever,
Scarleone.
Because the Doctor planted seeds of doubt in her mind about a green-headed man with the one eye. And she goes and she pulls out this ancient Egyptian scroll, which Scarleone had secreted somewhere. And there's a picture of him. So she's like, okay, who are you? What are you? And she holds a gun to him. And then he's like, well, this is who I am. And he pulls off his mask, and you get that green face with the one eye. She's like, she drops the gun. He says, by the way, I'm glad you're wearing the bracelet I gave you.
Very helpful.
And he touches his ring and kills her. It literally kills her. Our second on-screen death.
In the City of Death.
Yeah. Wait, who was the first one? The on-screen death?
The guard in the Louvre. Wait, no.
That was off-screen.
That was Dr. Kalinsky.
Oh, yeah, Dr. Kalinsky, who was aged to death.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, she's dead. Scarleone goes down. He's presenting himself because the doctor, manages to break out with Duggan just literally ramming his shoulder into the door, which I'm surprised he didn't do the first time. And then Scarleone is like, Romana told, hey, I put a 2-minute timer in there. He can only go back for 2 minutes.
Yeah, it snaps him back to his current timeline.
Right. And so he goes in, he says, I'm well aware of the limitations you put on this, but it's irrelevant. So he flips a switch and he goes back 400 million years in time. The Dr. Romana and Duggan chase down the streets of Paris. You get to see the streets of Paris yet again.
Does no one care about the timeline or whatever he said? He's trying to hit
Right. They chase down, they're running. They run into that gallery, and there, admiring the TARDIS as an art piece, is John Cleese and a lady.
And his extra shoulder here.
Stop.
His extra crown there.
Stop. All right. But anyway, they're admiring an art piece, and it's the TARDIS. And while they're admiring it and talking about how afunctional it is and where it is and all that stuff, how
avant-garde.
had no right to be there and all that, but it was magnificent. The Dr. Romana and Duggan run into the TARDIS, and then it disappears. And she's like, exquisite. How very exquisite. Anyway. This is the only appearance by a Pythonian in all of Doctor Who. It could happen again. There's still 3 or 4 of them alive, but
very old at this point.
70s. Yeah.
Have you heard of that one modern art piece that auctioned for millions of dollars? And the moment it's sold, it was fed into the paper shredder. Yes, I actually I've seen the video and know of this. And then after it was halfway shredded, it doubled in value.
That's so silly.
It's so silly.
Nuts. All right,
or it's a scam.
So
money laundering.
I can't quite agree with that. Some art is a scam. Hunter Biden's art was a scam, but most art is not. Anyway, so the Dr. Romana and Duggan go back 400 million years in the past. Once again, this is a plot hole, okay? Mm-hmm. I mentioned this earlier. He can't navigate the TARDIS properly because of the randomizer.
He also went back to visit specifically.
Yes, because of the randomizer, he can't do that.
So
I don't know if
he must have taken it out.
Taken it off and done it or something, but
that's like putting on the ring and then
Lord of the Rings.
The Eye of Sauron.
And
so the Black Guardian would be able to find him and take out the randomizer.
Right, and I mentioned this while you were gone. It's like, wait, that's kind of a plot hole. They don't show or explain this, but he then goes back to the exact moment when the ship's going to take off and stop it. He doesn't know because the device exploded before he could see the exact moment. Mm-hmm. But he somehow goes back to that exact moment, tracing Scarleone.
The location.
Right, the location, the time, everything. So they go back and they manage to stop the Count. Well, the Count's going to stop his spaceship from taking off because
doesn't use the stabilizer. So he Scaroth puts in the stabilizer and uses it to travel back in time to a specific point in time and location. But he also rigs it to self-destruct once he does that. But then the Doctor takes out the piece that Romana created, and he says something about this is going to help us fight. Doesn't he take that to the TARDIS? Did he use that to track him?
None of that is shown.
Okay.
I don't know. None of that is shown.
I think it was kind of hinted at, because he blows off the fire and he pulls out.
Maybe.
the
I mean,
something.
you've got to assume something here.
That doesn't explain how he went back to visit Leonardo da Vinci.
Right. This. Okay. Traditionally, if you go back further, this would have been 5 or 6 episodes. They would have explained more. But the fast pacing and editing of this serial is one of its charms.
I feel like they got John Cleese to write the serial, and they're just like, yeah, we'll make it work.
No, it's Douglas Adams.
Douglas Adams.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter if it doesn't
We'll
fit.
make it work. We'll put it in 4 episodes.
Yeah.
All right. So they go back and they're trying to stop the Count, and who stops him? Duggan. Duggan actually knocks him out, keeps him from
The most important punch in all of history.
right. Keeps him from preventing the human race from existing. The Count, after 2 minutes, goes back. Then he wakes up, and his butler henchman, what's his name? Hermund looks at him, sees the alien face, and shoots him dead. Which is awesome because it was his main right-hand man. And so, the alien comes to a demise of his own creation. The Mona Lisas, the extra ones, were destroyed, apparently along with the original. And one of the extra ones becomes the new quote-unquote original.
The one that he wrote. This
is a fake on the Canterbury.
Yeah.
And then Romana and the doctor say goodbye to Duggan on top of the Eiffel Tower, and they leave. They turn around and wave goodbye to him when they're walking out on the green. And end of episode 4.
The end.
The end. What questions do you
Off
have?
into the future with the randomizer.
Right.
So they kind of address the question of what is art in this serial, and then they say, Duggan makes the argument that we can't have a fake Mona Lisa, and the doctor says, well, it's painted by the same guy, what's the difference? He's like, but it has felt written under it, and he's like, it's still pretty to look at, isn't that the point of art?
Right, and the doctor says so many times, this is one of the greatest works in the universe. No, the world. No, the universe. Well, why are they trying to steal it? Because it's pretty. Well, wait, why are they trying to steal it? Because it's pretty. Why are the humans trying to steal it? Because it's pretty. Why are the aliens trying to steal it? It's pretty.
So the doctor also... so Romana, too, brings up the point that was the point of hand-painted, hand-drawn human art when we have computers that can make the same images. Mm-hmm. And the doctor scoffs out computer-drawn art.
Right.
That's the point. But what is the difference? Is personality, the strokes. Are you familiar with
Technique.
Are you familiar with AI art that's coming out now? They have AI generating these incredible pieces of Are you familiar with AI art? It's a thing. It's a thing, and it'll blow your mind. And it's becoming a big thing to where you can take different pieces of art as references and feed it to an artificial intelligence, and it can kind of replicate the style and make similar artworks. And artists are kind of up in arms on it. Like Twitter is a big platform where artists post about their work, and they have to
Twitter.
All sorts of different social media platforms. And the artist has started posting things like, "Do not use my art for AI references, please. It's my art. I don't want computers replicating my style." It's bizarre. It's terrifying.
It is. This is we're talking Terminator. Kind of
Skynet
coming up. Yeah, Skynet.
And you also have it kind of begs the question of what is art, and how can you tell the difference between art that's made by a human and art that's made by a robot? Because you also have AI that's making music, and they're conducting symphony and writing different piano songs, and it's getting to the point where people can't tell the difference between a song that was written by a robot and a song that was written by a human, and the same with art.
Right, and that's all a problem.
Is it a problem, and why is it a problem? What is art?
The AI does not need to exceed human beings in everything.
What happens when they do?
You've seen The Matrix.
Are we in a simulation right now?
No.
How do you know?
Such technology does not exist as of yet.
How do you know?
Because I've been alive long enough to know it could not have started when I was born.
You could be simulated. You could be in a machine
Nah,
now.
don't start that philosophical
Or The
crap.
Sims. All right, moving on.
Alright.
we talked about how we're not going to talk about how Romana has her own sonic screwdriver.
Well, no, we didn't say we weren't going to talk about that. She does, we don't know how. Whatever.
Are we sure she wasn't just borrowing the doctor's screwdriver?
It's not shown as such.
It looks different, right?
Well, no, the doctor was using a sonic screwdriver to get
Wow.
into the gallery, and then she uses one to get into the cafe.
Okay.
So they obviously, and they
They're
were
two
separated.
individual-
So they have. She has a sonic screwdriver, which I'm not sure if it ever comes up again that she has a sonic screwdriver. They just show her with it.
Also assume that you talked about how the doctor's friends with Leonardo da Vinci.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's a great appreciator of art, because there's also the Doctor and Vincent, a very famous episode of
Yes.
stuff.
Speaking of which, I think it's the next time they go to Paris. The actual Paris is the Museum d'Orsay
Mm-hmm.
in Vincent and the Doctor, which is. Hold on.
Classic.
Hold on.
Starry Night, Starry.
30-something years later. 32 years, 33 years later.
So this is the classic that spawned the revisiting of.
I just think it.
Shut up.
I'm not sure if it spawned it, but it may have helped inspire it.
Does it ever come up again how did the Jaggeroths ever return as a villain that has spawned the human race?
No.
No.
The Jaggeroths never return.
Jaggeroths never return. Even though they're responsible for all of humanity and
Yeah, they've never
Technically.
returned. So, literally, you put over there Scaroth on the board for the one-shot villains.
Mhm.
You can also put the Jaggeroth.
yes.
But they've never returned this entire time.
as of
They were a super warlike race. Doctor Who, it's not racist in the classical sense of black or white or
Specious.
brown or whatever, but it's very specious in that some races are just warlike, which is fair. You know, some cultures are just very warlike, and the Jaggeroth were very warlike, and they destroyed themselves pretty much in a war.
some would argue that humans are the same way.
Well, we haven't quite destroyed ourselves in a war
Nuclear
yet, and I
weapons.
hope it will never happen. Although current world conditions may be something to consider in that statement.
Another Cold War.
I move my night. Anyway,
Yes.
continue.
History cannot change,
Yep.
except when it can.
Doctor Who, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff.
I guess we just about covered it. Next time, the creature from the pit.
Yes, creature from the pit. Okay,
We have some news.
much news. Okay. The Centenary special happened while we were on hiatus.
100.
No, sorry. Yes, 100 years for the BBC, not for Doctor Who. It was the 100th anniversary of the BBC.
Well, that's not confusing.
Slightly is. Anyway, so the Doctor regenerated. We were expecting Whittaker to regenerate into Shutaagawa.
But he did.
She didn't. She regenerated into David Tennant. So the 10th Doctor is now also the 14th Doctor. Interesting note. Well, you're not making a move this week. You're making a move next week. Interesting note. The clothes changed from Whittaker to Tennant. The backdrop is supposedly, even though the clothes were slightly man-like, that Russell T Davies didn't want the clothes to be used against the Doctor, you know, from a woman wearing them to a man wearing them, even though they were slightly man-like. But I've been thinking about it, and there's precedence for this. Okay? So the male doctors always seem to show up in the same clothes as their predecessor, with I think the exception of 1 to 2.
Mm-hmm.
All the other regenerations, they show up in the clothes of their predecessor. Whereas, right?
He doesn't show up in women's clothing.
No, he doesn't. But here's the thing, okay? I've been thinking about this.
He shows up naked.
No, he was taking a shower.
He was naked.
He shows up in clothes. Anyway, hold on. Listen to this. I think Time Lords have the capability when they regenerate to change the clothes as well as their physical selves. Because Troughton was short and Pertwee was tall. So the clothes had to change at least somewhat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also, when Romana was changing...
Is that only inside the TARDIS because of the relative dimensions, or does that happen outside of the TARDIS when he regenerates?
Within the range of the TARDIS.
Inside the TARDIS?
Well, no, within the range. Inside or within the range.
This guy was...
Because that was inside the TARDIS.
Yes.
But...
From Hartnell.
Right. But others... Right. But there are others within the range. Like, when we go to the Tenant, the 14th Doctor,
mm-hmm.
It's literally just outside the TARDIS.
What is the range of the TARDIS?
Yeah, we don't know. Anyway, but here's the thing. When there is precedence for this, when Romana was changing her form to Romana 2,
mm-hmm.
she kept going into the other room and coming out another woman.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, her clothes kept changing faster than you could change clothes. So when she was trying on the different forms, I believe that she was also changing the clothes to match.
Ah.
So this is how I think that they...
I think it's related to the TARDIS, yeah.
Yeah, so I think this is an ability of Time Lords to change the clothes as well as the form.
Are those last year's towels? Terrible towels? Or is that
No, this year's terrible towels.
Oh yeah. Well,
So they can change the clothes as well as the form. Most of them don't do it. Well, especially most of the males, because they're not as conscious of it.
mm-hmm.
But apparently, I don't want to sound stereotypical, but women are more conscious of clothes.
In style.
And so, in style, so the women do it more. Because it was the Romana who was changing clothes as well as form over and over.
Yeah.
And now Whittaker, when she changed into Tennant,
mm-hmm.
changed the clothes at the same time.
Yes.
So I think the women are
But
just
then
more conscious.
Tennant also changed his clothes when he regenerated back into Tennant.
No, he didn't do it.
Oh, he was.
She did it into him.
Oh. That is dizzying.
Right. I think Russell T Davies was just trying to take it off the map as some sort of transvestite thing or transsexual thing. But overall, I think it actually works within the show because of Romana's precedent of constantly changing clothes as well as form.
I see what you're saying.
I actually think it does work, and a one-line explanation would just be perfect for it. All right, other news. While we were on hiatus, The Abominable Snowman came out. It wasn't supposed to come out for a couple more weeks.
It came out early.
Okay.
Well, specifically.
Well, yeah. So I go to Barnes and Noble where I get my Doctor Who DVDs, and I was gonna order something like, oh yeah, by the way, this came in for you, and it was 5 weeks early. The Abominable Snowman. Apparently, occasionally, a distributor doesn't care about the street date. They have a street date, but they don't care if you break it. And this is what happened here. BBC America or BBC or whoever the hell releases these didn't care about the street date, and I got The Abominable Snowman 5 weeks early.
So we got some animations to catch up on.
Well, yeah, we have 3 more. Abominable Snowman, Web of Fear, and
Web of Fear.
Evil the Daleks.
Ooh, all good ones.
Wait, Evil the Daleks? Well, you and I did that one.
Yeah,
Oh.
we watched
We watched that.
The
No,
animation
we
one.
also have Galaxy 4.
Ah.
And when we have a few weeks we don't drink or whatever, we'll watch those 3. Or at the end of this season.
Okay.
Either way.
Yeah.
So anyway, at some point in the not too distant future, we'll catch up on the animations. Now, speaking of the animations, and speaking of a budget that's too big for going and doing on site.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Remember how I told you that Sony owns Bad Wolf?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Disney, I think as of January 1st, has the worldwide international rights for streaming for Doctor Who outside of the United Kingdom and Ireland.
Really?
Yes. Disney.
Interesting.
I'm not going to give them any money and subscribe because
Streaming.
I have all the DVDs and Blu-rays. But they, besides owning these rights, have increased the budget of Doctor Who from $1 million an episode, $1.2 million an episode, to $10 million an episode. Okay.
So they're gonna stream the new Doctor Who season on like Disney Plus.
Well,
And
everything. All the old stuff, all the new stuff, everything. They have complete streaming rights, I believe, as of January 1st. I haven't seen the date yet,
So they
but it
just-
makes sense.
Okay.
To all of Doctor Who, everything outside the UK and Ireland. Okay,
Huh.
Like I said, I won't give them any money because I can't stand Disney. But I will wait till it comes out on Blu-ray and DVD and watch it.
Do you subscribe to BritBox?
No,
British.
no.
So-
all I have is Amazon.
Lone
Right.
Wolf owns the IP, but not the streaming rights, which means they're just producing the.
The BBC owns the intellectual property. Bad Wolf is producing the show, but Bad
Producing.
Wolf is owned by Sony.
So how are they going to profit off of it if they're not allowed to stream it? Just the DVD sales? Or they be?
You're talking about the BBC?
No, Lone Wolf.
Bad Wolf. Bad Wolf gets paid to produce the show.
Oh, okay.
And they're owned by Sony, and Sony makes money because Bad Wolf is paid to produce the show.
Okay.
The BBC makes
So they
money
just have the.
selling the DVDs and the streaming rights to the United Kingdom and all the merchandising.
Mm-hmm.
And they're making money from people paying them, like Disney must pay them a crap ton to get the streaming rights everywhere else in the world.
Okay.
And Disney, in theory, will get money from people signing up for Disney Plus to watch the show everywhere else in the world outside the United Kingdom and Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, since Disney is throwing money at the show to help Disney out, $10 million an episode,
Big budget.
big budget.
Probably the largest budget.
So we're getting more stars. We're getting better locations. So we'll have more stuff actually on location, like this and the two doctors and stuff, and better special effects. And hopefully, some of that money will go towards finishing off the animations.
Probably not.
No, I hope so. Because there are several seasons of the original run which only have one story missing. Marco Polo for season 1, The Crusade for season 2, stuff like that, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And hopefully they can
Oh,
finish
because
them
they'd be
off.
streaming it, so they'd want to.
Right, they want to complete it, and the BBC, hopefully, if nobody else can throw some of that money towards completing the animations. The only reason they stopped was because the deal between BBC America and the BBC stopped. But that's because the streaming rights are going to go to Disney. Hopefully now either the money from Disney directly or the money from the BBC indirectly, which comes from Disney, will finish off the animations. Hopefully.
It's a lot of handshaking.
It is. Another piece of news. Shutai Gatwa's companion has been announced.
Yeah?
Yeah, her name is Millie something, I can't remember the last name. She is,
From Game of Thrones?
from some soap opera.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyway, she's 18 years old.
Young companion.
Well, the actress is 18.
Is she playing a Time Lord?
No.
125 years old?
Well, we don't know yet. We
Okay.
don't know. But the actress is 18. This is the youngest actor or actress to be a companion on the show. Not the movies, because the girl who
Right.
played the granddaughter, Susan, in the movies, the actress was 11. But on the show, this is the youngest actor or actress to play a companion. Which...
Younger than Arnold's granddaughter, Susie?
Yeah, she was 21, 22. The youngest actor or actress previously to play a companion was the one who played Adric, and he was 19.
Oh. I haven't met him yet.
No, we're getting there. Actually, we're getting there next season.
We're on season 17 or 18?
Hold on. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We're on 17.
17.
He comes in 18.
Okay. No, we're almost there.
Yeah, like I said, we're almost there. But Adric comes in soon under Tom Baker, the fourth Doctor.
Duggan was going to be a new companion, and he technically was,
Yeah,
but is no longer.
Wait, hold on, let me finish the news.
Okay.
We'll talk about Duggan. But anyway, so she's beautiful. But then again, Shutai Gatwa, he's beautiful. He's gorgeous. The two of them make a very photogenic couple. And they are going to be piloting the TARDIS here sometime soon. Okay, another piece of news. Okay, I don't want to look at the chessboard because
Checking for
okay.
4 more episodes, and I'm going to lose this game.
Pretty soon, your king's in serious trouble.
Yeah.
So anyway, David Tennant is the 14th Doctor. Shutai Gatwa was the 15th. The companion's been announced. The woman, do you remember Harry Potter?
Yes.
Okay. You remember the woman who was the herbology professor?
Yeah, big glasses,
No.
curly hair.
No.
Oh.
The big glasses was the woman who was the divination professor.
Yeah.
Short,
Stout.
Yeah. She's going to
Screaming
be in
medals.
Doctor Who in probably series 14.
Oh, she's been cast,
Yeah,
but we
she
don't know
has.
who she's playing yet.
We don't know who she's playing, but
I like
she's... Okay, so we have Neil Patrick Harris
Yes.
next year in the specials.
Yes.
We have to wait till November.
We don't know who he's playing either yet.
No, the speculation is a Celestial Toyman, but so we have nothing
That'd be
from
cool.
here out until next November.
Mm-hmm.
We have the 3 specials with David Tennant as the Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully a Christmas special with Shutai Gatwa,
Yeah.
and then in 2024 series 14. But yeah, with,
forward to.
huh?
A lot to look forward to.
True. Although it's a bit of ways, we gotta wait a year.
Yeah.
But
We'll have a few
right.
other seasons to catch up
Right,
while we wait.
but with this actress, we have this Harry Potter actress coming in, and part of that is because of the money that Disney's throwing at the show. You know,
Yeah.
You know.
Star power. We have more people doing the James Bond, Game of Thrones, Doctor Who, Harry Potter circuit.
Oh, forget James Bond, but
Nothing.
there's very few doing the Doctor Who, James Bond, Game of Thrones. There's only 2 people I know of, and one of them is a minor
Harry
actor,
Potter.
and the other one is the caretaker in Harry Potter, who
The new Hartnell.
who becomes a Hartnell. Yeah.
He's in Game of Thrones. Not James Bond.
Well, he plays Hartnell in Adventures of Time and Space, and then he plays the first Doctor in the show proper in Twice Upon a Time. The final episode of not on there of Capaldi.
Capaldi. Well, we have quite a bit to look forward to. Lots of news that we missed in the past, 7 weeks?
7 weeks. Lots of news, lots of stuff going on.
People are watching these episodes back to back and noticing the jump in the date.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, hopefully it doesn't happen as bad again, although Christmas is coming up.
Yeah, holiday season.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving this Thursday.
Yay, Thanksgiving this weekend. Any more questions or anything else?
I think we covered them.
All right.
It was a pretty
Okay.
straightforward episode. Love the villain. He's
Love everything about the serial.
Contention
This is
with
such a classic.
Sutek as our one shot for heroes and villains. We're not sure. Not sure.
We may have 2 one-shots just because they're both so good.
Baker's a really long doctor. Several
The
seasons.
most seasons, the most episodes.
6, 7?
7.
7. Woo.
7 seasons. All right. So you were asking earlier about the scarf.
My skirt?
No, Tom Baker's scarf. Did he
It
have a new
looks-
scarf?
It looks, less woolen and more
No.
cotton.
Okay. So his first 6 seasons, he has that same outfit.
Yes.
For his 7th season, the outfit changes.
Is this paint gouache that he's wearing as a...
No, it's a Christmas decoration right there. And you saw it in today's series. It's a couple of Christmas bells.
Looks like tubes
It's
of
a
paint
green
gouache.
and red Christmas bell.
Paint gouache.
It's a green and red Christmas bell. And it's a Christmas thing on your lapel, and he wears it, and it was in this episode. Anyway, we hope to see you again soon, next week,
Monday.
with
Tuesday.
the pit of what?
The monster from the pit.
The monster from the pit.
The monster from the pit.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Alright. Yay!
Bye-bye.
Bye. See ya. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
I'm going to win this chess game.
No.
3 weeks.
No.